Hello everyone. My name is Ritesh Gupta. I'm from AI Events Airline Information. Welcome to AI's new video. Today we are going to have a discussion about installment payments in travel and also how to leverage payments as a marketing tool. For the same, I have with me Tom Botts, Chief Commercial Officer, UpLift. I welcome Tom. Great to have you, Tom.
Thank you, Ritesh. Great to be here and nice to see you.
Thanks. Just a brief background on UpLift. UpLift is 100% focused on travel. It is powered by AI-driven point-of-sale lending and payments technology. The offering allows airlines to offer travelers the ability to buy now and pay later. We are witnessing interesting trends in the arena of payments. For example, Visa has just shared that 70% of uh, customers surveyed are open to new methods of paying for transactions. And this survey came across from 8 countries. So my first question to you, Tom, is what trends would you like to highlight in the arena of payments, which the travel sector can look into?
Well, thanks, Ritesh. I mean, I think there's a couple of, interesting things that we're seeing as we look across, obviously a very drastically different landscape than we saw even a few months ago. So I want to focus sort of on the big picture. And I think the first trend that we're seeing is exactly, kind of matches up very nicely with the research you just mentioned, is that, people are open to paying for transactions in new ways. And credit cards have always been thought as the way in which people want to transact for travel. In fact, it's basically been the only way to transact for travel, just due to legacy systems, et cetera, and integrations not just at the point of sale, but all the way back through airline revenue accounting platforms, et cetera. And so I think as companies like UpLift are finding new ways, in particular through our partnership with UATP, for example, to offer consumers new ways to pay for travel while still allowing the legacy platforms of major airlines that aren't going to change anytime soon to continue functioning as they have in the past, which we do by basically paying the airlines via UATP, which is a tried and tested and true platform. That is, we're seeing tremendous uptake. UpLift got its start, mostly in the vacation package space, where our initial customers, such as Southwest Vacations, United Vacations, et cetera. And what we're seeing is that, average transaction values are, in terms of another trend, are actually coming down as more people embrace the platform. So even pre-COVID, people are starting to think about how they could pay for trips, even smaller dollar amount trips in installments. And that's clearly something that we continue to see today.
Tom, you've just mentioned that the average order value has come down. So how should travel merchants look at the booking flow? What does the data which is coming from your end is signifying? How should travel merchants look at the booking flow so that the customer gets closer to the payment option, and then obviously they use options like installment payments?
Well, UpLift solves a critical problem, which is conversion, right? I mean, that's the heart of every transaction, or transaction flow is the bottom of the funnel conversion. And so UpLift helps drive more consumers down the funnel through things like allowing from pricing on ancillaries, the ticket price itself, et cetera, helps move consumers continually through the funnel. They are oftentimes today look kind of a little bit of sticker shock, right? The price comes up, it's $700. A consumer goes, oops, I don't have $700, and they leave. By breaking that $700 down into smaller bite-sized monthly payments, we're able to help push more customers through the funnel, and then all the way down to, as you just stated, to the moment of truth is actually when the consumer has to transact, right? And so airlines, OTAs, et cetera, everyone has spent millions of dollars over the years bringing customers into the top of the funnel, and then highly optimize the funnel, the trip through the booking flow, right? But then there's been very little work done on actually kind of that true moment of the moment of truth, right, where I have to actually give someone money. And that's where UpLift has really found our sweet spot with, all of our partners in helping them clearly drive transactions, because we're able to, help take away that sticker shock and actually allow people to transact who would not have been able to transact otherwise.
Tom, we are witnessing interesting surveys on LinkedIn, for example. Somebody is asking, are you going to book your tickets in the next 12 months? Are you going to book your tickets in the next 18 months? My question to you is, how can installment payments can be used as an option to lure the traveler and say that, hey, you have an option to pay in installments, so you're not committing the full amount upfront. And if you want to change your plan, then flexibility is being offered. And anyway, you're not paying too much amount. So do you think installment payments can be used as a marketing tool to kind of assure the traveler that you're not paying too much amount, and plus on top of it, we are offering you flexibility in terms of cancellation or refund?
Sure. Well, it's important to note that the use of UpLift doesn't affect any other benefits associated with the normal fare product, et cetera, that the consumer would be buying. So we message that pretty strongly, and that's certainly at the heart of kind of what we do, is ensuring that we're not imposing new restrictions, et cetera. We always follow whatever cancellation refund policy is that of our partners, and it flows through the platform automatically. And so I think that just adds additional opportunity, to your point, where we can allow customers to actually go ahead and transact with confidence, but also be able to lay out less money up front for what's frequently a very large purchase. So when we look at, the booking window is pushed out dramatically for UpLift, as it has for all suppliers, right? And so what we're seeing is that customers who are, booking way far out in advance, they're availing themselves of great deals. There's lots of great deals out there right now, whether that's in air or cruise or et cetera. But then by, putting installments on top of that, it takes that deal and just amplifies it, right? It makes it an even a better deal because there's less money up front, particularly when the trip may be, 6, 7, 8 months away. This is a way for consumers to, put that large amount of money into bite-sized payments, and therefore continue to transact.
The concept of installment payments in travel isn't new. How do you think, among other than all the points which we have discussed, installment payment in travel is going to fuel the demand for travel, or how we can expect installment payments to play a bigger role in travel from here on?
Well, look, I mean, I think installments are a way of life now, across the retail spectrum, and there's certainly no reason why, people shouldn't be able to pay for travel in installments in the same way that they can, and have been able to for years, buy a car in installments, buy luxury goods on installments. You can buy a BMW and finance it. You can finance a Tiffany ring. And traditionally travel's been hard to crack because of the IT infrastructure, whether that's new, old, or it's all old, but at any rate, that's been part of the challenge. I think it's also been a question mark in the minds of many travel marketers, is this really something that consumers are demanding in travel? And I think as installments have grown across, other verticals, so as they've moved from beyond cars, right? You've been able to buy a car on installments forever. I mean, Toyotathon's been around for a very long time. I think what we're seeing is just a much broader acceptance of the concept. As both consumers and suppliers are seeing value in being able to pay for things over time, it allows people to afford to take better trips, or to take trips that they have always dreamed of taking. And that's kind of what UpLift's mission is all about. We get letters all the time from people who are, literally letters saying, wow, I was able to, take my children to see an ocean for the first time, or I was able to go and see my son or daughter when they return from active duty. These kind of just wonderfully heartwarming stories, which are really important to the ethos of what Uplift is and what we're trying to do by allowing more people to travel.
During one of our recent webinars, you mentioned that growth in installment payments has accelerated during the pandemic. If we talk
Mhm.
about, is it coming from new carriers? Have you signed on any new carrier in US and Canada, the markets you operate in? Or is it just we know that the volume of transaction is pretty low right now. So where do you see this growth coming from during the pandemic?
That's a great question. So we see it coming in two areas. One is from, established carriers that we've had long partnerships with, such as United, or Spirit or Allegiant, expanding the presence of Uplift, whether that's taking it into their mobile apps, taking it into their mobile websites, or just additional placements within their marketing. We find that Uplift works very well to amplify a marketing message. So take a standard, fare sale and apply from pricing, for example, and that just helps amplify the value to consumers. So we're finding that to be very helpful. At the same time, we have also signed several new carriers. We're now live in early beta with Air Canada, which is exciting, as well as Alaska Airlines and Frontier, among many others that are currently in development right now.
Tom, talking about expansion beyond US and Canada,
Mhm.
how technology, be it for lending and payments, works is going to work beyond US, because I assume that credit scoring is what your organization considers as far as a particular consumer is concerned. So, for example, in China, Alipay has a certain scoring system it counts on before it
Mhm.
offers any kind of option to the traveler. How are you looking beyond US and Canada? Are you going to integrate your technology with some credit scoring provider? How it's going to work beyond these two markets?
Well, that's a great question, and you hit the nail on the head. The challenge outside of the U.S. for a credit-based system is the general lack of at the U.S. and Canada of a credit scoring system that's common and ubiquitous. So we're looking at lots of opportunities. It's a little early to announce our plans in terms of continued expansion beyond Canada. We're super excited about the steam that we're building in Canada, as well as we continue to grow in the United States. And I'd say stay tuned.
Last couple of questions. One, how has the refund situation changed as far as Uplift's association with the airlines is concerned? I know Uplift mentioned that there is a seamless process. So, for example, if I have bought a ticket through Uplift, depending on the airline policy, whether it's a voucher or I would be seamlessly getting through Uplift my amount back, depending on the airline policy. But have the airlines really opened the refund option in the last 1 month? Because there was a lot of criticism as far as refund was concerned in April and May. So how do you assess the situation in June and July?
Yeah, so it seems that the carriers have I would say I think we all would agree that some of the carriers were really pushing the envelope in terms of what they were offering in terms of refunds, particularly for canceled flights and schedule changes, et cetera. It seems like all the carriers have coalesced, as they frequently do, around kind of back to the what I would call more traditional refund policies, so that if the flight is canceled, they are offering a full refund rather than a travel voucher, et cetera. So that's for the U.S. market. The Canadian market's a little bit different. There's not the same level of consumer protection in this case around the Canadian point of sale, so it's a little bit different up there. But again, everyone, we're not hearing nearly the level of concern that we heard in the past, and so it's working quite well.
And lastly, Tom, if you were to summarize and give recommendation to travel merchants on how to leverage payments as a marketing tool in today's environment, considering consumers' trepidation, what would be your set of recommendations?
Well, look, I think it's all about enablement, right? And at this point, I think we can all agree. I mean, every survey that I've read has said, business travel is essentially, done for 2020 and maybe a good part of 2021, unfortunately. And so, that leaves a lot of excess capacity in the airline industry. I think, we all know kind of how this works, right? Every CFO looks at travel and says, boom, well, there's an easy cost savings. And, I think that's what a lot of companies have done for certainly the remainder of 2020, even setting aside even the health and safety concerns. It's just a budgetary, easy thing to cut budget wise. And so that's going to leave, a lot of empty seats out there, a lot of opportunity for carriers to um, generate a lot of need for carriers to fill seats. And so I think it's at that point that making sure that every person who wants to transact or can transact can in fact do that, right? And so that and ensure, by allowing UpLift or providing UpLift as a way to help drive that conversion, I think will help carriers, collect every bit of leisure revenue that they can, which is going to be increasingly paramount as we go into the fall and then, certainly into 2021.
Thanks, Tom, for your time, and we hope that installment payments as a tool can drive more leisure travel demand and uplift the mood of the entire travel industry.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We're excited about the prospects, and we'll all get through this. So great to see you, and thanks again for the time.
Thank you.